My brain.
My brain hurts.
My brain hurts.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon. All right, so
This is the way.
This is the way. This is Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, and if you were joining us, then you probably just saw us on our latest episode of Talking Picard, where we talked Star Trek. But today, I am joined by the incomparable gentleman, and I use that word loosely, gentleman from the Escape Pod cast. And today, we are going to be talking clones, or better, chatting clones.
Chatting clones. Do we want to change that? Do we want to change that to chatting clones?
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think we had talked chatting. Anyways, I'm down with whatever. Talking clones.
Colloquializing clones.
Colloquializing clones. Above me, to my top, is Paul, and then as always, in the bottom square, Neil is our bottom B, but one of the top B's in our heart. Welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
Hello.
Okay.
Hello, Governor.
Awesome. There. Now I got our stream. Now I can see our stream as well here.
Yeah. It just took me a while. I've got this going. I'm sure there's a Netflix playing somewhere else in my house. I had YouTube open for a bit. There's a whole lot going on. And granted, I don't live in the People's Republic of Canada, but I will say that sometimes my network isn't always as great as it could be. But it's not socialist network like apropos, who,
Universal broadband network.
Universal broadband, yes. But anyways, guys, it has been 5 years since the final episode of Clone Wars, and we come back with the Bad Batch. Describe your feelings going into this. Let's talk about our emotions for a few minutes.
So I never really truly got into the whole Clone Wars, the whole series itself. I watched it. I wasn't diehard into it. But it's been something that I put on in the background as I fall asleep. It hasn't been something that I invest myself into like I have Star Trek, like I have Mandalorian, how we've done that. I mean, there's only one season of Mandalorian.
But what a season.
But what a season it was. I'm kind of the version of you, where Clone Wars wasn't huge. Rebels was huge for me, but not Clone Wars. If we're talking Rebels, I am about it all the time. But it's when we're cleaning up clones, as Mrs. Anthony sent over to me in a message here. This is new to me. And we'll get into the Bad Batch here in a moment, but go ahead.
Yeah, Paul or Nev, your thoughts.
Oh, I'm not a Clone Wars fanboy.
Okay.
I wasn't a Clone Wars fanboy. I'm not a Clone Wars fanboy, but I was excited at the prospect of a new series, and even though it's been pointed out in the chat, and before it was pointed out in the chat, I'd heard and people had discussed the fact that the first 4 episodes of this season existed. That isn't something that I was aware of because I wasn't a super fanboy of the Clone Wars. So this new episode, episode 1 of season 7, it was awesome. I was, because over the past few weeks I have binge watched the Clone Wars. I'd already watched seasons 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Hadn't watched 4, 5, and 6 because I lost interest in the animated series at the end of season 3.
Yeah.
As you do with, sometimes you just switch off a show. You get sidetracked by something better. And, I got sidetracked by something better, stopped watching it. It fell out of favor and I wasn't a fanboy. But this one, because I've watched the recent ones. So I was really, really excited. And I am excited. And I loved this episode, loved the show. And I thought it was awesome.
Yeah.
For me, season 6 is what I'll put on. I think season 6 was great. I know the storylines that a lot of people talk about. Do we need to say spoiler alert? We're talking about season 7 of it.
If you haven't seen it, then just we assume that know that Darth Vader turns the dark side.
Yeah. And we also see that Maul kills Satine, which was a potential love interest for Obi-Wan. We see Hondo Ohnaka, strike a deal with Darth Maul. Mm-hmm. I mean, Darth Maul was in a lot of season 5 and 6.
Yeah, he absolutely was. So I'm with you guys. Like I saw this. I remember when I first saw this show. I came to it after it had started, and I was catching up with the series right as it was announced that it was ending, and I was disappointed. I remember being upset. I was like, "Well, that sucks," and being that I was at that time joining the fandom. I mean, I was a fan of Star Wars. I've been listening to all of the Clone Wars. All of the Star Wars audiobooks. I had acquired them through less than legal means. No, I won't say that online. But I had listened to all of these audiobooks and I was like, these are great. And my favorite audiobooks, my favorite books were set in the Clone Wars era. And I even had, I was talking to a friend or a coworker, not even a coworker. I was talking to a parent the other night of a student that I have, and they asked me, because I have all these Star Wars posters on my wall, they're like, do you like the prequels? And I said, the movies are fun, because that's probably the best way to describe the prequel movies. They're fun. When Anakin goes and slaughters a bunch of younglings. Who hasn't thought about that? But what really...
Thanks, teacher.
Yeah. I'm going to get a call from the principal tomorrow. But what really excited me about the Clone Wars was this episodic story that dove into all of these characters and fleshed them out. When people are like, I can't stand Anakin, I'm like, go and watch the Clone Wars. Go and read any novel that takes place during the Clone Wars era, and you're going to understand why Anakin is the way that he is in the films, right? In my mind, the Clone Wars gives context to what we don't see, right? And I love that. I absolutely love that. And there are times that frustrate the hell out of me when it comes to the cartoon. The fact that they're told out of order, I was like, why even do that? I've gone back and I've started watching in order the series, and it's just so hard to go back and watch so much. And like you, Paul, I'll go back and watch my favorite story arcs. I'll go back and watch moments for research, for other things.
And it was so bad, Thaddeus, that StarWars.com had to put out a list in chronological order.
Yes.
Now that being said, it's not as bad as it seems. I did want to cover this really quick. I'm glad you brought it up. There's 2 episodes. second season episode 16 and first season episode 16 that come before the movie standalone release.
Mm-hmm.
Then 2 third season episodes, 1 and 3, end up coming in at technically 4 and 5.
Yeah.
After that, you have a pretty much straight run through the rest of the series until in the middle of the third season, you jump back to the 22nd episode of season 1, and then you jump back to the 15th episode of season 2. But then the rest of the way,
it's pretty clean. You're right.
It's all chronological in and of itself. So it's not terrible if you watch them in the release order.
Yeah.
Try watching Witcher first time around.
Oh my god.
Get to the end of that season and you're like,
WTF did I just watch? Yeah. Oh my gosh. And I loved Witcher. I absolutely
and then you go back and watch it the second time and you're like,
oh, this all makes sense. Yeah, I'll probably have to watch Witcher a second time, but oh my gosh. But Dagger points out here in the chat that Kenobi is great. And again, a lot of what he's great as comedic. He's great with Asajj Ventress. Oh my gosh, there was so much of a will they won't they with Asajj and Kenobi that I was like, oh, just kiss already. Just get
a room already.
Come on,
just get a room.
Come on. Seriously, but and I will point out that what book was it? It was Dark Apprentice, which was a story arc that didn't make it into the Clone Wars season. It was one of the. It was the Dark Apprentice. It was the Dathomir or Son of Dathomir,
yeah.
Son of Dathomir, that were 2 story arcs, didn't make it into it, became comic book and movie or and book. They were amazing. But yeah, I loved that. And again,
that's new canon, Nev. Sorry.
No. This was old canon. This was on the books.
Dark Apprentice. Dark Apprentice is old canon. I had the opportunity. I had the opportunity to buy the book a couple of weeks back, but it was in such bad shape. I was not paying $2 for it.
That's sad, because it is worth $2, Nev. It is absolutely worth $2.
Really? Well, I mean, it's in the same charity shop every single time I go and look at the books. It's the same place I got all these ones from.
Yeah,
but these were $1 each.
Yeah. I went out and I bought the hardback copy because I loved it so much. I thought it was phenomenal. But anyways, I do love this series. Now I'm with Paul. I liked Rebels. I thought it was great. That was the one that really cemented a lot of my cartoon loving of the Star Wars canon. But I love the characterization of this show. I think it's great, and I think it does a wonderful job. And Dagger points out that all Clone Wars episodes are retroactive canon. It was Lucas and Disney's first move. So we are talking canon here. I was both excited. I was a little hesitant because I wanted the first episode to focus on Ahsoka. I really did, and like Paul mentioned, and Nev mentioned as well, or maybe Paul didn't mention, I don't know, but these first 4 episodes have been around for years. We
mentioned it we mentioned it when we were talking early.
That's what it is. So these first 4 episodes have been around. You can look them up if you haven't seen. If you don't have Disney Plus, you can actually go through right now. Don't go now because you'd be leaving the live stream. But you can go through after the live stream, of course, and watch them as if you type in Star Wars, The Clone Wars, Season 7, I think I read it as Story Reel or something like that. They've been up, StarWars.com, the company, they're like, hey, it's out there. I haven't gone back and watched the story reel for episode 1, and I'm going to, even though the animation it's not fully done yet. But I want to watch the first one and I want to watch the second one and compare notes because what I'm absolutely hoping is that we see adjustments, that we see changes in storyline, that we see more development than we get in those not quite finished episodes. Paul, Neil, have you seen? Neil, you said you didn't see them, but Paul, have you had a chance to watch those episodes, those storylines that have been out for years?
So I didn't watch them, but I got a good synopsis. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold up the spoiler duck, and once I put the spoiler duck away, you can come back, and you won't be spoiled for future episodes. But the spoiler duck wants to let you know that it is truly Echo that's going to be on the other end of this, on the opposite planet that they're going to be heading to, and it's and we basically see Skywalker help rescue.
Yeah.
So, all right, I'm going to pull down the spoiler duck now. We're not going to talk about that anymore. Spoiler duck is good. All right.
So spoiler.
I was humming Monty Python, if you could hear that.
Yes, I did. I bet it made me laugh.
So spoiler duck is gone, and the one thing that I will say is, as cool as it was to get a point of view of the clones, and I think that point of view is going to be crucial as the series finishes.
Well, we got at the end of season 6, we did see the point of view of the clones. That's where we met CT-99.
Mm-hmm. True.
That's so we did get to a lot of the view of the clones.
Yeah.
And they named themselves this Clone Force 99, also known as the Bad Batch. They named themselves after CT-99.
Yeah.
And I like them. I like them. The 4 that we get are Hunter, Tech, Crosshair, and Wrecker. Wrecker's that one that everybody's got to love anyway. So let's put Wrecker on the side for a second. Of Hunter, Tech, and Crosshair, who did you like, Thad?
So I like Hunter, and part of the reason why I like Hunter is because I think that we're going to see a lot more of the Bad Batch later on in canon. I think we're going to see an evolution of the Bad Batch in canon. And I don't think that they will end with the Clone Wars. I think they're ones that will make a transition.
So we'll get a sitcom called The Bad Batch?
No, I think that the Bad Batch is going to turn into... I forget their names in the comics, but there is a comic book that shows a group of stormtroopers, one with a lightsaber, going through and doing their stuff. I think that this is a precursor to that, similar in the vein of like the Knights of Ren, but Empire-esque.
All right. What you got, Neil?
I don't have a favorite. I liked all of them. That each character is unique enough. Each character is unique enough that I like and immediately became invested in all of them. That the one thing about the episode that was a little bit kind of predictable, but not predictable in a bad way, is I'm thinking to myself, well, no one's going to die in this episode because it's the first episode of season 7, and they brought this unit into this mission, this very specific mission, at a point where it's like, well, yeah, none of these guys are going to die. It is his 4 characters, like your Echo, like your Heavy, like your Rex, like your Cody. Here's 4 characters that you're going to see a lot of in this series.
True.
So the introduction of each of the 4 characters was good. We got to see what each of them was made of, what their specific special mutated traits were. And it was one of the reasons why I love the episode so much.
So there are a total of 12 episodes. So we, the story reel of what they were talking about, what Thad was talking about, was supposedly 4 episodes.
Yep.
And it seems that they've smashed down those 4 episodes into 2.
3.
Well, episode 3, according to this, is titled "On the Wings of Kira Dax."
Kiridax. Sure.
Kiridax.
Let's go with that. And again, from what I can tell, that same episode is part of the 4 story arc.
Okay.
So that's what I'm thinking, that they've taken the 4 line and smashed it down. I don't rightly know that for sure. I mean, again, I haven't gone through and watched all of the reels. And again, those reels are pre-edited, pre-cut scenes. So from what I understand is they'll produce that and say, okay, what can we cut? What do we need to cut to make it fit our timeline? Because I believe those are still a little bit longer than your traditional episode. So that's also where you get footage for the DVD type stuff.
Yeah.
But what I'm thinking here is, I think they will cut it down to 3. If not, no, I do think they'll cut it down to 3, because what I'm seeing, jumping over to hold up the duck.
Okay, hang on, Neil.
Hold up the duck, Neil. Okay.
The duck is back.
All right,
we have the spoiler duck.
Spoiler duck is back. If you look at IMDb, you do have the Bad Batch. Next episode is called "A Distant Echo," on the wings of Karadak, which again, I'm telling you, if you look up the reels, that is a name on. My voice just cracked. That is a name on one of the reels connected to this. But you then have 7.4 that doesn't have a name, and then it looks like you jump into the Ahsoka arc shortly thereafter.
Yeah, I haven't looked that far. I just wanted to see how many there were in that. So
again, my thought is that episode 4 is going to be a transitional episode, potentially, or it could even be a standalone episode. But I'm not 100% sure that they've cut all of them down to just 4. I would like to see them cut it down to 3, have a standalone, and then jump into another arc. So,
all right. So I'm taking the spoiler duck away.
Spoiler duck away.
Spoiler duck away.
Spoiler duck away.
All right, we're good.
Neil, come back to us. So, all right, welcome back, Neil. So,
what's up, my dude?
Okay, so here's my first question. Okay, again, this is just from the episode. Clone Force 99. Have they worked with Commander Cody before?
I didn't get that impression.
I don't think so.
Okay, so you saw the skeletons on their face, the stuff all over their armor. It's a skeleton, right? That's and they even mentioned the suicide missions. Like we are called in when no one else can do their thing, right? But when Hunter shows up and he's introducing the whole crew, he looks at Cody and says, "What suicide have you got for us this time?" Right? And
I just think that's a universal known for the clones themselves.
And that could be, but it makes me think that there's, again, a connection between those two, and they know Cody, because Cody's familiar with them. He's known of them, and he knows of their skill. Now, clearly, this group is well respected. There's rumors about them, who they are, and what they do, and all that other crap. But part of me feels like they've worked with Cody before. And it's just...
I just didn't get that feeling.
Yeah?
Yeah, no, I wasn't feeling that at all. I was, the regs didn't have a clue who these guys were.
That's true. That's true. There were
The regs just did not have a clue who these guys were, and were impressed with their extra, complete and utter lack of any fear whatsoever. It's like, yeah, we really don't care because we know we're going to win all the time. So there's just no fear there. And we prefer that assault on all of those droids. It's like Regs wouldn't have done that, but these guys are like, yeah, we're special, and we know we're special.
Yeah, I will.
I kind of like that with Tech flipping down the visor, giving the coordinates to throw and when to shoot.
That was pretty awesome. I thought that was it was really cool. You can tell that this group has worked well together. They clearly
that full front assault was just so impressive.
Yeah.
So impressive.
I loved it. As I sat there and I watched it, I thought to myself, I was like, this is neat in a way that we haven't seen before. I enjoyed that immensely. Paul, what were you going to say?
No, I was trying to figure out, is he saying the trajectory to launch and then the trajectory to shoot? Because it was Tech giving the trajectory, it was Wrecker giving the cover, it was Hunter throwing, and it was Crosshair shooting. So all four of them had a part in that.
Yeah, I love that. I will say, and I'll switch back over to Galaxy of Heroes here, but can you imagine what this team would look like?
Oh my God, the synergy for this squad! This would be such an awesome squad in the game.
This would be.
I would instantly start farming for these guys straight away. Absolutely. Because their mechanics and their synergy is there's gonna be like that full frontal attack. There's going to be like a group mechanic where they each do something, and it's going to be like an AOE unlike any other AOE.
Yeah, it would be awesome.
And they would totally decimate droids.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm just saying.
Absolutely.
The GG separatist team.
Gone.
Fuck that.
Yeah.
These guys are just going to wipe.
This is Going Nerdy's channel. Yeah. Calm down on it.
Okay.
So, but
F that. But frack that.
Frack that is what he said. So with that though, you have that full frontal assault. They make the stop at that citadel or that little section, the spire, whatever. What would you call that?
Outpost. The observation outpost.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But it was interesting to see the disdain, and you see this throughout. Towards the end, you definitely get a feeling that the Clone Force 99 admires Rex, but you don't necessarily feel it for the other clones. I just feel like they show periodically that they really don't like the Regs. Am I wrong?
No.
No. Well, they're an isolated unit, so they are a totally isolated unit. They do not play nice or well with others, and because they do so much on their own as a unit of four, that they don't. That there's no real opportunity for them to build that camaraderie and that brotherhood that Regs have for each other. Regs are constantly, in huge, massive, large units. They have. I mean, look at the beginning of the episode. The way that, that Rex was looking at the photograph of his fallen comrades. There's real emotion there. There's real feels there because that's what he's been. That's what that's his emotional experience with those other characters that are no longer with him. The 99 squad probably have exactly feel the exact same way for each other, but they've been made in very, very unique ways with very unique skills that work very well for them.
Yeah.
which is why they probably wouldn't work well with regs, because regs are all very the same. They're very generic, and it takes time for them to build their personalities. They have to spend considerable amount of time in the field before they do start developing their own individual personalities. But even then, those personalities, the characteristics, are not entirely unique from the way that the clone troopers are as units. You know, they still, no matter what reg is in what unit, they're still one cohesive unit following very specific tactics and following very specific militaristic dogma. The Clone Troop 99 squad doesn't, because they're a bunch of unique people that work well as a team. So
yeah, and so I will say though, I agree, and that makes sense. Moving on, or Paul, do you have any thoughts on that?
No, I was reading what Dagger put in the chat, talking about how he would like to see them as a Shock T, and all that's emanating in my head is that Shock T was described by Carrie in our episode 16 of the cast, that Shock T was a nesting doll, that she has so many different uses that we don't know about yet.
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I mean,
and
we already know about her being used in Lightside Geonosis territory battle. Does she have yet another nest to it?
Of course she does. Carrie was an enigma wrapped inside a riddle, wrapped inside, deep fried in seaweed. I don't know what you would say, but definitely Shock T, and almost all of these characters that we've seen come to the game in later months, if not year, have had and will have more functions. And I think I've always believed that we as a group just barely scratch the surface of which teams are out there. We find them and then we move forward with them. But he also says that Mace has worked with them. And in the commercials and in the trailers that we've seen for this, we do see more from Mace and from Anakin. And so it makes me wonder, will we see Mace and Anakin moving forward, right? They were the two Jedi the two Jedi generals in this episode. We don't see much from them during the episode. They had that initial briefing, which was cool, I gotta say. But we don't see much from them, and I'm hoping that we see more from both Mace and Anakin in the latter part of this story arc. Nev, how would you like to see that played out, or how do you want to see this story arc played out?
Well, I'm not adverse to seeing more Mace Windu in season 7. I mean, obviously, we're going to get a huge amount of Anakin, so. It would be nice to see some more of. It would be nice to see some more of Mace Windu in season 7, because he didn't get an awful lot. I mean, Yoda, Kenobi, and Skywalker were the three Jedi that got the most screen time. Yeah. In those previous 6 seasons. So I mean, Mace Windu was there, but he wasn't one of the more. He wasn't one of the more predominant. Jedi Masters. So yeah, it would be nice. It would be nice to see some more of him in this conclusive 7th season.
Yeah, agreed. Now, Paul, hold on, I spaced it. All right, moving forward, they take the Citadel, right, and then the outpost, and then they break into this little they go to the next base. But while they're doing that, we see Admiral Trench.
Yes.
Did anyone else think that it was awesome that Admiral Trench has now become a cyborg?
Yeah. It's Cyborg Trench that's going to be the galactic legend separatist to the galactic legend Mace Windu.
I think so as well.
I'm betting the house on it now. I'm betting the house on it now. When they do the duo, of Galactic Republic and Separatist. It's going to be Mace Windu, and it's going to be that general.
I could see that. I could totally see that. Trench is a character that I always felt like didn't get enough screen time in the Clone Wars. I mean, he's only in like 4 episodes, maybe 5, and it's cool to see that he survived the Battle of whatever. Christophsis, I believe. I want to call it Anubis, but that's clearly not right. But he survived that initial battle against Anakin and the stealth fighter, right? I think that he's a character that I absolutely love as a Separatist. And I would love to see him especially do some very devastating things to the Republic.
Well, I'm sure we're going to, because of this, as it stands right now, with the inclusion of what seems to be a hybrid mind of CT-1409.
True.
So, I truly believe that there is still a chance right now for Trench to get a big upper hand.
Mm-hmm. Agreed. Neil, what are your thoughts?
Give him a capital ship in the game as well.
I got my malevolence. I'm happy.
I'm not even close.
I think very, very good, very pivotal, excellent character within the animated series. That the fact that he survived the massive battle, got some cybernetic prosthetics, and got straight back on the saddle, just adds to his badassery. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's a bad guy. He's the heel. He's on the evil side. He's on the bad side. But for him, it's all about the battle. It's all about the war. I think that he would be exactly the same no matter who the enemy was. I think he would be exactly like he is if he was on the Galactic Republic side.
All right.
So from a militaristic perspective, I think that's what makes his character so awesome. I think that he would be exactly like he is no matter what side he's on. So I kind of like, I'm looking forward to, and I'm very hopeful that, he doesn't get killed off, and that there is a huge and lengthy adversarial story arc between him and Anakin and Mace Windu. And, sometimes he'll get the upper hand, sometimes Windu, they would consider each other, good adversaries. I mean, in personal combat, obviously the Jedi would just, wipe the floor with him, but that's not what generals do. Generals don't go toe to toe with each other. Generals are sitting on their horses, in the rear, they're in the rear with all the gear, drinking glasses of wine and, eating cheese.
Yeah. And he definitely he has that.
But I think, the battle itself is, it's working out. He's very analytical in the episode. It's like, he gets off with them and communicates with them straight away. And it's like, get yourself on high alert. You are literally about to be attacked. But within a second of him saying that and giving the warning, what happens? Exactly what he predicted. So he knew exactly what the clones' play was. And
I love that Dagger and I are exactly on the same page here. He said it in chat before I could say it out loud, that Trench and Kalani would be great in Swaga. Now, people like Trench because he's great, not taking into account the side that he chose. Yeah. Trench is a great admiral. Mm-hmm. And, if things would have went the other way, people would have been praising Trench and saying that Kenobi was trash.
Yep. And
wouldn't it be awesome if they got him to defect to the Galactic Republic side?
Oh, no. So here's here's what I'm thinking, right? And this is what's interesting. You see this a lot in the comics. You see it a lot in the books. Those Imperials who were members of the Republic forces, right? When they talk about the rebels, they continue to call them separatists. And what would be interesting is if Trench somehow survives the separatist army, this whole galactic war, and then somehow helps the rebels. I think that would be really cool. I don't think it'll happen.
Because he ain't gonna go. I can't see him going. I can't see him going. As much as it'd be interesting to see for him to go Galactic Republic, I don't think that's going to happen. And the reason that's not going to happen is because the Galactic Republic becomes the Empire, and the Empire is extremely xenophobic. The only reason why the likes of Thrawn gets away with it is because of because of the Emperor. Because of Moff Tarkin and their amazing admiration for his, tactical and militaristic, qualities and abilities. And that's the only reason Thrawn gets away with it.
Yeah.
Apart from that, the Empire is extremely xenophobic towards anyone that is not Terran, basically.
Yeah. And it's because of this. It's because of the separatist movement. So many of the separatist planets were not Terran, were not humanesque. They were aliens. And those aliens,
including the Techno Union leader Wat Tambor.
Yeah. And they caused damage, right? And before the clones came in, they were people. I say that of course the clones are people, but they were planetary defenses fighting forces against the separatists, and the separatists killed a lot of people, and that anger, that hatred, that xenophobia perpetuated throughout the series, and it makes sense. So I don't see Trench. I don't know. I don't see him surviving to go to the Republic. I don't see him being killed off because they brought him back. Because they went through the process of bringing him back. And so I feel like...
I don't have a tinfoil hat here, but I have a tinfoil Fallout 76 helmet.
There was a recall order for them.
Only some of them. So it's okay. I have a feeling that it's actually going to be... I think Saw Gerrera is going to come back and kill Trench.
Oh, now that would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't have a tinfoil hat either, just a regular hat, but because of his intelligence and because of his military capabilities and just his ability to come up with tactics and strategy, I think that he is going to discover the truth behind Sidious and Dooku. I think he's going to figure it all out, and he is going to, before disappearing, he's going to take a dive in a battle, fake his own death, so that he can get away, because he becomes aware of what's going to happen to the separatist leadership after Order 66.
Yeah. And
that's why we don't see him getting killed at the end of Revenge of the Sith.
I could see that. That makes a lot of sense.
I think he's going to fake his own death, which would open the door to him returning in either the continuation of the Rebels animated series. They could bring him in with Dr. Aphra, which I can't wait for that show to start.
And the book. And the comic book next week, next month.
Yeah.
Or even bringing him, back in the Mandalorian. He is a good character.
Yeah.
And I think it would be a shame to waste such a good character. even just bringing him in, and as a cameo in a few episodes, I just he's a he's just a good character. He's a Thrawn like character. He's one of the guys that you look at on the other side and go, that is an interesting character. I like watching that character. I like his involvement in the Star Wars universe, and I want to see more of it. So yeah,
I 100%.
So we are coming up on the end of our hour here. So I'm just going to run down the plot of the rest here.
Yeah, we've barely hit the plot.
Well, once they're in the Cyber Center, no, we did. We talked about the introduction. We talked about the battle. We talked about.
Right. Go.
So we have hit the plot. And this end was fairly quick because they find out that the signal is coming from Skako Minor. Mm-hmm. After that, Tech connects, and he finds out that it's not a signal, but rather, or it's not a program, but it's rather a signal. They ask the signal who it is. The signal responds CT-1409. Yes. On the way back, after they're rescued from the Cyber Center, Hunter asks Rex why CT-1409 was so significant, and it ends up being that CT-1409, for those uninitiated, unwashed masses, is Echo's number.
Yes.
Oh, Cubs just joined the stream.
Cubs, we're about to close up.
We're about to end, dude.
But yeah, and it's what's interesting there is if you actually go back and you look at his call sign, his call numbers, right? In the original, he had different numbers, right? He had a different number that he went by. That's why, I mean, he chose the name Echo, right? They called him Echo, but his call sign was something different. If you look in Swugga, you've got the call sign as CT14H something. I don't know. I can't remember what it is, but it's different. And so here, and it's just a small thing, but this is his after clones, after Megiddo, not Megiddo. Oh, balls, the planet. After the tall white people with the long freaking necks. That guy, that group of guys. After the clone station.
Yes.
Thank you.
Camino.
Oh, the Caminos.
Yeah, after,
I wonder. I'm like, white guys with long necks. I'm like, who the bloody hell are you talking about?
Like after Camino, he gets a new call sign, and that's the sign that we got in the episode. And so it's interesting that, I mean, it's just a small tweak, but it just shows how much effort or how much attention they're paying to little things like that. I watched a video that talked about some of the spoilers, some of the things that were in the episode. If you go back to the moment where he's looking at Rex is looking at the picture of Echo and Fives and the whole crew, right? In the background, you have a clone helmet, and it says in Arabesh, it talks about, I want to say the first battle of the first battle of Geonosis. And so it's like a small little thing, but it's like the troopers, the clones, are learning about themselves, their own history. And I don't know where I was going with that, but it was...
There we go. 210408 Echo.
I think Echo will have been lobotized, not lobotomized, but lobotized.
I think so too. I think
so that they can turn his mind into the algorithm that's proving to be very, very successful for the Separatist army.
Yeah, and so
I mean we will see.
And again, I'm gonna throw the tinfoil hat on here and say, no, hell with it, I'll throw it on now.
Do I need the duck or the hat?
No, the hat. I'm going to throw
the hat. Okay.
One of the things that I liked about this episode, and the thing that I think that we'll see more is, as you mentioned, Paul, we got a lot in season 6 from the perspective of the clones, and I think what we will see from the perspective with these next 2 episodes, and quite possibly 3 episodes, is there will be a moment where Rex will have to decide whether Echo lives or dies, because they have to shut off or stop the lobotomized Echo from continuing to give information to the Separatist. And I think it's going to come down to Hunter or someone from the Bad Batch, like saying, "All right, we got to cut him off," and Rex saying no.
I will take your conspiracy theory and I'll raise you a double conspiracy theory. Echo's already dead. They're just keeping his brain ticking over through lobotizement, and Echo has to decide whether to switch him off or keep him alive. He has to go through the painful emotion of, like switching off life support, basically.
Yeah.
All right. And just so people know who are tuning in now to see the very end of this, Nev has not gone and looked at the storyboards.
Yeah, Nev doesn't know.
So, it's kind of like Scotty doesn't know, but Nev doesn't know this time around.
Nev doesn't know.
Nev doesn't know. And we're going to keep it that way. We're not going to tell him.
Yeah, we're not going to let him know.
I put my fingers in my ears and I hum.
And we have to have this.
Every time he does that, I go.
That's our spoiler duck. Yes, to let Nev know to plug his ears.
Yeah.
So,
don't believe me? Go back and watch the replay.
He has no idea.
So
go ahead, Paul.
I want to know.
What do we want to do? This is the inaugural episode of Talking Clones. What are we rating with? We do warp cores in Talking Picard. We do bars of Beskar and Mando. What is the clones?
I gotta say clone helmets. Or
I was thinking the same thing.
Clone
Neil,
helmets or like clanker heads.
Ooh. Neil, you're the coin flip here. Clanker heads or clone helmets?
I was thinking clone helmets.
Clone helmets. Let's do clone helmets.
So, Paul, give us your breakdown. What do you rank this out of 5 clone helmets?
And finally paying attention to Clone Wars past, going, okay, cool. Now I know a little bit of the lore. And paying attention to an episode as a critic, I have to say that this episode certainly sets up season 7 in one of the most wonderful ways.
Okay.
Yes, we're getting a rehash of something that people have already seen if they're fortuitous enough, but it's certainly going to be something new, something that we will look forward to talking about, especially after these initial episodes of what you and I, Thad, don't know what are coming.
True.
I give this one a 4.75 because it wasn't the one. They basically did not do anything new. They went ahead and just rehashed what was already out there. But they did it well enough that it was exceedingly entertaining, and I have some new wishes to bring to a game that we all love. Neil, over to you.
5.
5 out of 5.
Tell us why.
It can only go downhill from here.
Oh, well, you're setting the bar high. I gotta say that I'm a little lower than you, Paul. I'm gonna say this is a 4.5. I loved this episode. I did not like the Bad Batch as much as I wanted to, and it's one of those things where I've been watching so much intense drama and intense like adult cartoons. I say that, but like Rick and Morty, I was expecting more, and I have to keep in mind that this is still geared towards a younger audience. Yes.
Yeah, this is not on CBS All Access,
Oh yeah.
Dad.
So
you
this
know,
is
it's
not
not TVMA.
right? And so with that,
Thank God.
I really did have. I really didn't. Nev. I really didn't like the Bad Batch as much as I wanted to. There was something about their back and forth, something that their disdain for the regs bugged the hell out of me, and I was like, no, you better like the regs because the regs are awesome, and whatever. But I got it. 4.5.
To me, it wasn't disdain for regs. For me, it was more Crosshair, like teasing the regs because, hey, he's special and can hit you from 20 miles out, without batting an eye. He was just egging them on. I don't think there was disdain.
I think there was some animosity there. I think there was some. I don't know, and I think you're right to an extent, but I think that there's definitely some like we're better than you and we know it, and that kind of bugged me. But that gives us
they had desirable mutations, quote unquote.
Desirable mutations. So what is that? A 4.
That's a 4.75, right where I put it.
I can't math tonight. Now is the fun part. Let us speculate. Hold on, not us. Neil, speculate for us what you think is going to happen with this story arc. Let's focus on the story arc before we move on. Let's just focus on the story arc.
Well, I mean, I think that I think the Separatists have got Echo, locked up in some high security location, in a Bacta tank, keeping his body, alive on life support while he's been lobotized, not lobotomized, but lobotized. So, and the speaking isn't really speaking. It's, him thinking and responding with his mind because he's had the lobotizement done to him. But I think that, ultimately finding him and stopping him, and I'm stressing the word stopping him, is definitely going to be the number one priority for Generals Skywalker and Windu. And, we're going to see, hopefully over the next couple of episodes, them basically working their butts off to find his location, and Rex will be there, and Rex is going to, be absolutely, completely, utterly crestfallen when he discovers that it's, yes, his friend and war mate is alive, but not alive. He's literally being kept on life support, without which he would not be alive, simply so that the Separatists can use his brain and pump him for all of the, strategy and technical knowledge of Galactic Republic strategy, and then it will end with Rex switching the machine off, and then we'll go into whatever episodic way they're going to take the next 8 episodes.
Yes.
And that's the way I see this story arc going.
Yeah.
It'll be Rex. I think Rex will turn him off. I don't think he's going to be alive so that he can be returned to the ranks. He's just going to be literally on life support. And Rex, instead of blowing it up, it'll be like, no, we need to know if he's alive and if we can bring him back. And it'll be Rex that finds him, floating in a pool of Bacta. And it'll be, turn me off, brother, switch me off. We'll see Echo physically speak. And there'll be a clone brotherly embrace, and we'll all get choked up and I'll cry.
All right.
Paul, are there any thoughts or things that you would like to see in this story arc?
In this story arc, I definitely want to see more of Trench.
Okay.
I definitely want to see possibly where Trench could end up going. You know, can we redeem Trench? I know it's too late because they've already gotten everything animated and all that. But hashtag redeem Trench.
Redeem Trench. I like that hashtag. The one thing that I'm looking forward to seeing, I'd love to see Redeem Trench play out. I think that would be awesome. The thing that I'm looking forward to seeing is to see the emotional roller coaster that Rex is going to go on over for the rest of the season for sure, but specifically dealing with this, the finding out that Echo's alive, and then how he handles it. I am really looking forward to seeing. Not that I want to see Rex in pain, but I want to see what turns him essentially against Anakin. Because I think there's going to be something that's going to drive a wedge between Rex and Anakin, and I think this might be it. So those are my thoughts. So
the tinfoil hat, really quick for me. You know, let's say that it's 3-episode arcs. As I said in the chat, the 4 arcs that I'd like to see: Clones, which we're getting right now, Hondo, Maul, and Snips.
Yes, I would love to see Hondo. I don't think he'll show up. I really don't.
Can't wait to see Snips kick Maul's ass.
Oh,
my money's on Snips.
Yeah.
My money's on Snips.
I'd be fine if it's 4 episodes of the Clones and 8 episodes of Ahsoka. There's so much that
Hondo.
I want to see. I would love to see Hondo. I would absolutely love to see Hondo. I don't know where he would fall into this. I really don't. I don't see, if their focus is on the Battle of Mandalore and the finalization of everything that's going on, there's gonna be some political connection here. I think we're gonna see a couple of episodes of full on, let's talk about the Senate. Let's talk about what's going on. And I think that we're gonna get a C-SPAN version of the Galactic Senate. I think that's...
Oh boy, I can't wait to watch our animated C-SPAN.
It's just, you know...
This week, Senator Amidala talks from the floor of the Galactic Senate. Coming up, C-SPAN, Naboo.
Yeah.
Coming up on C-SPAN is the Separatists. Are the Separatists getting involved in our democracy? Are they bugging? Are they, bugging the transmissions? Are they interfering with democracy of the Senate?
I really want to look into separatist interference into the Nabooian elections.
Yeah. Because there's no way that person would have won the election without the separatists getting involved.
Absolutely.
It just,
absolutely
just wouldn't have happened.
The Geonosians
wouldn't have happened.
Have been all up in the business, right?
They were dropping them ads on the HoloNet. Yeah. I mean, it was only like 1 or 2, and only like less than 1% of the population of Naboo saw those HoloNet ads. But it
was enough. It was enough.
It was enough. It was enough to do the damage. So damn those separatists and
but then propaganda. The whole occupation of Coruscant going on.
Occupy Coruscant was I mean, so here's what my thoughts are as far as
we are way off track. We do need to wrap up.
We absolutely are, but it was a fun track to take, I gotta say.
Yeah, it was.
So here's the thing: there's a lot of stuff coming out, novel-wise, story-wise, outside of this. We've got a follow-up to the Queen Amidala story. We've got
well, yeah, of course. I mean, that we have to get the follow-up on that, because I mean, clearly she's a separatist agent.
Yes.
She's clearly a separatist agent because she had a meeting with some separatists. I mean, forget the fact that she's trying to broker, peace with, an enemy force. I'm telling you right now, those competitors to C-SPAN, they are so on the money. She is a bought and paid for asset of the Separatist army. She is bought and paid for, and I don't care what anybody else says. She is bought and paid for, and she should not be getting re-elected. She should not be getting re-elected. And you know what? If she does get re-elected, it's because she cheated.
Of course.
And it's because she's a Separatist agent, and the Separatists want her in power, so they're going to get her re-elected to the Senate to represent Naboo. So yeah, whether she wins or loses, it's all the Separatists' fault because she's a Separatist agent.
You want to talk about stuff coming?
Yeah.
Dr. Aphra. Bounty Hunters.
Yeah. Do you know what?
Dr. Aphra, ironically, on April 1st.
Yeah. An unpopular opinion, very, very unpopular opinion, like really, really, really unpopular opinion. But I actually think that if they did a live version of Dr. Aphra, the actress, that they should get to do it is Brie Larson.
Well, yeah. And also,
she's got resting bitch face down to a T.
Yes.
Another Vader came out earlier this month at the beginning of the month.
I don't know if I've read that one yet. Brie Larson would actually be perfect for Dr. Aphra.
I just think about Brie Larson's the character that she played in Scott Pilgrim versus the World. If she played the lead singer from the Demon Head Revisited, whatever that band was called, if she did that character as Dr. Aphra, but with a little bit more evil humor, she could so pull it off.
Yeah.
You know.
So, oh my gosh, yes, absolutely. I've heard. I don't know who I heard this from, but they've said that Dr. Aphra could be a cartoon. I'm like, the hell it could. Dr. Aphra.
No, they've got to make it live action.
It has to be live action.
They've got to make it. Has to be live action.
I got to tell you, Nev, not to throw fuel on this conspiracy fire of yours, I've actually heard that Brie Larson has met with the people at Disney for something other than Marvel continuation.
Oh, good, because I ain't watching Marvel. I ain't watching Marvel while she's in the Marvel, but I would so watch her as Dr. Aphra. I would watch that. She
would be a perfect actress.
She would make a brilliant Dr. Aphra.
100% agree. But there's so much that these, and they have said that it's a 12-episode season. There's so much that these 12 episodes have to include to set up for what's coming. And I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to breaking down every moment of these episodes coming. I'm gonna this week. I'm actually gonna go back. I'm going to watch the first reel of those things that they released back in the day of these previous episodes. So I'm looking forward to watching that and rewatching this episode, and to kind of compare the two to see what has been taken out, what's been changed, and what was left in. So with that, Paul and Neil, thank you guys for being on our inaugural episode of Talking Clones, or colloquializing with clones.
Cleaning up clones.
We are going to be doing this every week. You can follow us an hour before we begin here. We will actually be, you can visit us on your channel, where we will be talking Picard.
Yep. And we'll figure out times, if it works better for you to go a little bit earlier so we're not so late. We'll figure out times. Keep an eye on the Escape Podcast Discord server under the content creator, TepCon content creators page. We will keep you up to date when we go live. And thank you for having us on, Thad. Thank you for continuing this tradition. We did this with Mando. We're doing it with clones. And I look forward
to do it with anarchism and philosophy.
Yes. Well, you guys are going to be doing your own thing. I don't know what channel, if you're hosting that, Nev, or if it's going on.
It's going to be on Thaddeus' channel.
We have
all right.
It has nothing to do with anything Star Wars or nerd related. but it's going to be
nothing to do with Star Wars. It is philosophy. It is all about the philosophy, baby.
Yep, all about philosophy. So I'll see if I can hold my own against Nev. But anyways, guys, this has been Thaddeus from Going Nerdy, Paul and Nev from the Escape Podcast. We are...
Be nice to each other, damn it.
The representatives of the Escape Pod Castaways Content Creator Network. And as always, my friends, smile and stay nerdy. I love that there's always like a little second or 5 or what I feel like might be 30 at this point where I've clicked the end stream.
It's about 7.
The end stream.
It's about 7 seconds.
And it's still like my computer's being super slow and it's not letting me click end stream. I just ripped one. So technically we're still live.
I'll sing a song then. I'll sing a song. Sing a song. One of my parody songs.
Yeah, we are still live. Everybody gets to see us.